Rock paracord. So I've kind of taken some time on actually doing this, but I'm going to show you guys how I make the 1-point tactical slings that I make for your AR-15. You can use them for a shotgun. I've sold quite a few of them. There's a few stores locally here in Round Rock that sell them. So I'm actually going to show you how to make one. A guy ordered one, and he actually sent me an email and said I would like to make these, but I don't think it's right to, you know, steal your idea and not buy one. So I thought that was pretty cool, and this is actually the one that I'm making for him. So hopefully he'll check out this video. But let me show you what I have here. I have two different sections of 550 paracord in black here. One is, and this is all approximate, and one thing, I haven't got it down to a science on the lengths for certain things. Usually I just guesstimate. So a lot of questions you guys ask on YouTube say, how long is this, how long is that? I just kind of judge. One thing I do is this what do they call that, measuring tape here is about 5 feet long, so I usually do it in lengths of 5 feet. So this one is 6 of these lengths, so I would say that's about 30, but it's actually a little bit more. So 30 feet, and then this is 35 feet. So that's what's going to make the loop that goes around your shoulder. I have some webbing here. That's what we're going to use to go across the chest, and that's going to be the adjustable section. I don't use the elastic anymore. This using this stuff makes it a little bit more versatile. We got a standard H&K hook, side release buckle. Now this is a tri-loop or a triangular loop. This is what goes across your back to go the different directions of where each of the weaves are going. This is a slide. It's a metal slide, holds up a little bit better. This is a D-ring that I use that goes kind of in the middle of the chest, and this is where all the different directions of the cords come off. And then I have, these are pretty cool, this is for these push button QD mounts, and it just pops into that hole right there, so I kind of weave this in there, and then that's what ends up making it the single point. And then also I'll show you where you can attach it if you have one of these QD attachments towards the muzzle of your rifle. You can attach it there. And then I got my tools that I'm going to use, and so I'm going to go ahead and get started. And so you have quite a bit here if you ever need to unravel it. Alright, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to half this piece, and I'll try and do as much as I can on camera, but then some of it, just with this piece being so long, is kind of hard to do, so just bear with me. Okay, so I got it in half, and I'm just going to loop this onto the D-ring. And pull it through. Just standard. Everybody in the world can do that. Alright, and then I'm going to run this through one of the 3 sides of the triangle here. And run it all the way through. And keep in mind, again, you're using a lot of cord here, so things are going to get tangled up. Alright, and you loop it around. And now at this point, depending on the size of the person I'm making it for, I'll make it, you know, longer or shorter. This is the piece that's actually going to go in the front. Alright, so now we got to make it a certain length. Now, depending on if you're making it for a smaller person, a larger person, I usually do different sizes, but for the most part, one size fits all, because this is just going to go around your shoulder, so you don't have to make it real huge, and you actually don't want to make it a lot bigger, because you don't want it sliding around too much. And one reason why I make these is because of the regular things that slide around and stuff. So what you want to do is, I make this about 14 to 15 inches, and right there we have it at 14 inches. And then what I use, and you can use a bunch of different stuff, clips, clothesline, clips or whatever, but I use my little forceps here, and I hold this at this point so that it's not going to slide around anywhere. So I just hold it there like that, and then what I do is I take another loop through here, and pretty much this is just making the interior strands, or the what you're going to weave around, just a little bit thicker. And I mean, you can make it super thin if you like your slings to be thin, or you can make it even bigger. You can add another 5, 10, 20 feet to this and loop it around many times. So I'll loop it around there, keep it at the 14 inches, and I'll try and make this look down here nice and neat. And then what I'll do is I'll move my forceps down to this end, clip it in. Alright, trying to keep everything nice and neat. Loop it through again. Alright, you want to keep everything tight. And pretty much right there, I'll have the 4 strands up top, and that's what I'll start with. And again, you can make more than that if you want, and make it a little bit thicker, because you do have a little bit of play here, and you have room to do a little bit more. Okay, and then this is, at this point, I take the 2 outside strands and make sure they're outside. If they're not, right now these aren't outside, so put this on the outside here, the other one on the outside here, and you're going to start doing your standard cobra weave. And again, I'm trying to do everything, since this is something that's fairly large, it's hard to keep everything on the camera. Alright, so then I'll just start my first knot and pull everything tight. Okay, now I'm just doing my standard cobra weave, back and forth all the way down until you're completely done. There's plenty of videos that you can see, including one that I've made on how to do the cobra weave. Okay, and so I'm getting it started here, and that's what it's going to look like. Hopefully you can see that. And I'll go all the way down to the end, and at this point you can take off the forceps if you want, but it doesn't hurt to leave them on. Okay, so a little recap. So I started up here. Okay, I looped around, connecting the D-ring and the tri-loop, and I looped it around twice to where I have 4 strands showing at the top here, and this is where I started my cobra weave. And then I made my cobra weave all the way down, pushing it up nice and tight as I went down, and I went down all the way down here to the end, to where I was close as possible, and got as many of those loops in there. And then there's 4 on this end as well. So if you notice, with the 30 feet or so, that's how much extra I have. So those of you that think Paracord's are going to fill up a landfill or something one day, and don't want to waste this much, well then make it a little bit shorter than 30 feet. So it's probably about 1.5 feet or so on each end. So that makes 3 feet that you can take off of there. Alright, so next, and this is the piece that's going to go across the front, down from your shoulder, across your right or left pec. So now here's the one question: is some people, when I've sold these, wanted them to go on the left side, because then whenever you drop your rifle you want to go to the left because you got your pistol on the right. So I don't know, it can go either way. This is pretty ambidextrous on what side you can put it on, but whenever I make them and kind of fit it on me, I always use my right shoulder, even though I shoot lefty since most people are right-handed. So you know, I guess it's up to you, but you can put it on both, and I'll show you how that works. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to loop around on one of the sides here, and I'm going to come around this way, and I'm going to attach pretty much the same thing, or I'm going to do pretty much exactly the same thing, but I'm going to make it a little bit longer, and that's what this paracord. And that's why I made this one a little bit longer. So this one's 14 inches. From the D-ring to the tri-loop, it's 14 inches. So this one over here, I'll make around 15 or 16 inches. And that's, you know, depending on the size of the person, you might want to make it a little bit bigger, 17, 18, but usually 15 to 16 should be good. So I'll get that started and show you once I get there. Alright, so I got the other loop going, and I did the exact same thing, except now it's on the side over here and looped around. So, you know, it has the 4 strands looped around there. I'm starting the cobra weave. I'm going to go all the way down. You know, I got my forceps holding it there in place. It's about 15.5 inches long. And so now I'm going to just start doing the cobra weave. One thing I thought of as well, or I thought of this before, but people always say, well, what if you have to use the paracord? Well, then you don't have a sling anymore. Well, one thing you can definitely do is put another layer of cobra weave over this. You can put it in a different color, make it look cool, put some OD green. You can have it match your rifle if you have different accessories on there. And there's your paracord that you take off whenever you possibly need it. So you could, and if you wanted this to be even wider, you know, you could do that. So make it one of those king cobras that they call it or something. So now I'm going to do this other strand here. I'll show you whenever I'm done. Alright, so I got the shoulder part done, and you notice here that again this is going to go across the front, this part, and then this comes around the back, so it's a little bit longer, as you can see. And then again, at this point, if you wanted to, you could wrap another layer over this in a different color, same color, whatever. And I'll probably maybe do this on do it on this one. And you could even maybe wrap halfway if you want. If you just wanted a certain amount of 550 cord paracord to, you know, put on there, you could do that. So if you had to pull some off, you would still actually have a sling. So the next piece, I'm going to put a short section of cobra weave here, and then I'm going to attach the webbing to that to make the adjustable section. Alright, so here's the little section I added on, and I didn't have this in the beginning as the different parts because I wasn't sure if I was going to do it, but I just have a little small loop here. I believe that's a 1-incher, maybe even a 3/4. I'll verify that later. But I just put this, this is the piece that's going to start to go around your back and then in front of your chest and hook on, and this is where I'm going to hook on the webbing. And so that'll slide right through there. I'll sew that on, and then I'll show you how I make the rest. Alright, so it's coming together. I sewed on the end here, and then I ran the webbing, ran this QD attachment point through here, and then did my nice little pull loop here to cinch it up whenever you tighten it over whatever you're wearing. So I guess I gotta leave something to the imagination so you can kind of figure out how I made this little loop here. So next what I'm going to do is I'm going to add on the QD attachment point here, and then right here, and then I'm going to add on the actual attachment to where it'll attach to the rifle. Okay, I got the QD attachment point set up. You'll just pop that in there, push the button, it slides in, push the button, it comes out. So that'll make it into a 1 point. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'll get a short piece of 550 cord, and I will attach this to it, and then another short piece of 550 cord, and I'll attach this to that, and then this is where you'll hook onto your rifle. Alright, so there's the final product. This is where it attaches to the rifle, and then this piece you can switch out. So if you have another piece with a QD on it, you can just pop that in there. And so I bought a lot of the same side release buckle so that I can make interchangeable pieces here, or I can put one of these on every one of my rifles and then have one sling for all of them. So that's the final thing.